My number two is kind of related to Plaxico, and again, we'll stay in that era as well. And it's, what if David Tyree doesn't make the helmet catch? So let's set the stage here. The Patriots are 18-0. They're in this Super Bowl against the wild card Giants, who have not a great defense during the regular season, but all of a sudden it becomes like the 85 Bears with that D-line and everything. And they're driving late against the Patriots. They're down 14-10. There's about a minute and 15 left in the game. The Giants have 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 or something from midfield. We all know the play. Eli drops back. He looks like he's sacked. He pops out of nowhere, throws up a prayer. And David Tyree, who I read, I think had like 3 catches or something, maybe some really small number. I'm going to pull it up real quick. But in the regular season, he had 4 catches for 35 yards. And in this game, just like we've seen many times before, guys become heroes in the Super Bowl, and he catches the first touchdown, and then he makes this helmet catch, which ends up setting up that Plexico Burress touchdown in the corner of the end zone. The Giants win 17-14, and that's the first Super Bowl for Eli Manning. And I think the big what if is, if David Tyree doesn't make that catch, they still have 4th down, but obviously, 4th and 15 or whatever it was, because he was going to get sacked for quite a few yards, is really different than 3rd and 5. So I think if he doesn't make that catch, they're not winning the Super Bowl that year. And I don't think they win the second Super Bowl a few years later, because they're facing the same opponent. And in their minds, it makes it real easy. They're like, we kicked these guys' ass before when they were 18-0. We could do it again when they're, not quite as good. So I think without that catch, we don't get the first Super Bowl and we don't get the second Super Bowl. And obviously everyone's legacy is very different coming out of this game. What do you think?
Yeah, so before I get into that, there's actually a great story about Tyree specifically in the build up to that game. So I remember reading about this. It was like Wednesday in the practice before the Super Bowl in Arizona, and Tyree literally couldn't catch a ball. Like he was having the worst practice of his life. And Eli went over to him and said, you got to be ready. Like Sunday's your day. Like it's going to be your day. And not only did he make the helmet catch, he also had the only other touchdown in that game. Mm-hmm. So, that's just back to Eli for a little bit. Like that's just the type of leader that he was. Like he wasn't the bolsterous guy who was going to make some crazy comments in the media. He was always mild-mannered, but his teammates loved him and respected him because he was a leader. And that really, we're talking what if Eli never did that? Like, does Tyree have the confidence to show up on Sunday and make those plays and do that?
After his 3 catches in the regular season.
Yeah. He was a nobody. Like, I'm a diehard fan. I barely knew David Tyree. Became a legend. I remember watching the game and, like, essentially accepting the fact that Eli got sacked and it was over, and being proud of the fact that they fought that whole game because the Patriots were a juggernaut. But like, all right, we tried, didn't make it. And then I see him getting out of the grasp. Like, that's got to be the best viewing moment of my sporting life. But in terms of like the what if, so of course, all the things you said, but on a bigger scale, like we're never talking about the 72 Dolphins anymore. Like Patriots were 19-0. Like that to me is the biggest one. Like with 100% certainty, I can say that if Tyree does not make that catch, that game is over. Pats are 19-0. Everyone's talking about it. And I don't know if I can agree with the 11 part, because I think the teams were a little bit different back, 7 versus 11, at least on the Giants front. But still, the one ring with Eli and Coughlin, even like what we've been talking about, the theme, like about the resume and Hall of Fame, I don't think they get there with 1. Like the difference between 1 and 2 is major. So, it's not hyperbole to say that the catch changed the direction of people's entire career.
Yeah, the legacy, NFL legacy, like with the Patriots, like you said, 19-0, no more 72 Dolphins. And as a Patriots hater, I was rooting very, very hard for the Giants in that moment. I do remember watching that play. I remember the play before. He almost threw the interception to Asante Samuel on the sideline.
Yep.
And, it was just such a insane playoff Super Bowl moment where it's one of those things, people call it one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history. I think there's a lot of competition for that, but it's probably the greatest catch in Super Bowl history. I think we could say, just because how unlikely it was, how difficult it was. And
who it was, right? Like the whole thing is that all I wish is that if I wasn't 12 years old, I definitely would have had Giants money line, like plus 1,000 in that game. Just as a fan, I feel like it's my duty to take them. But
were they double-digit dogs in that one?
They were 14.5 points. The spread was 14.5.
Wow. Okay.
So I probably would have put a few bucks on the money line and pray for it. But
again, I mean, it's like it kind of came full circle, because the Patriots, I remember. I mean, I was a kid back then, but in their first Super Bowl in 2001 or whatever, they were 13 or 14 point dogs to the Rams, and of course ended up winning. So it's crazy. Sometimes, these things come full circle, and they got punched in the mouth just like they punched the Rams in the mouth. So if he doesn't make that catch, we're having a very different conversation about Eli and Tom, even if they do win that other Super Bowl, because one Super Bowl is like, okay, sure, maybe you caught lightning in a bottle, you caught some breaks, things went your way, you still won it, which is great, kudos to you, but it's not like a legacy thing versus winning two. It's like you did it once, like I'm going to do it again, and you prove that you are among the elite of all time. So that's a big one.